Hey there, and welcome to Friends Along the Way, a podcast where travel meets the stories and people who stay with us long after the trip ends. I'm Bethany, and in each episode, I'm going to sit down with a friend to share adventures, lessons, and those unexpected moments that turn strangers into friends. So grab your coffee or your boarding pass, and let's go on this adventure together. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Bethany, and welcome to the very first episode of Friends Along the Way, my brand new podcast about travel, connection, and the unexpected stories that will always stick with us. So, since this is the very first episode, I just kind of wanted to go into my story, how I grew up, give you a little bit of what you can expect for the upcoming episodes. And so this is just a little short version of me. And the episodes for everybody else will be a little bit longer to get into their story. So I grew up in Wisconsin. I now live in Phoenix, Arizona. And somehow, despite only leaving the country twice, I've managed to visit four countries and really collect some wild travel stories, which I truly appreciate. Um, Usually, when I go on vacation, I become a little bit more free and open to the world because I really don't care what anybody thinks because I'm in a different country and I'm just there to have fun, get a little wild, and see where life takes me. But growing up, like most Wisconsin kids, my early vacations were yearly family trips to Florida. So Disney, I'm going to say Fort Lauderdale, but I know that's wrong. And my grandparents will probably be like, Bethany, you should know where we went growing up, but I don't. I totally forgot. But we went with my grandparents because they had a timeshare. So we kind of packed up our whole family and we flew out to Florida every year. But once my brother and I got older, I also have a sister who's a lot younger than me. Um, but once my brother and I really got a lot older into our teens, the big trips kind of stopped. And then once I went off to college, I moved to the big city of Milwaukee. Um, we went on one last trip to Florida as a family, but that was about it. And so I had girls' trips here and there, like day trips to Chicago, one trip to Nashville, but honestly, I was more staying at home and saving up money and kind of just trying to get by, in all honesty, you know, taking on student loans, all of that. So I didn't have money to really do anything, and I didn't have the confidence to go out on a trip by myself. I definitely needed somebody to go with at all times. When I was in college, there was a study abroad program that I really wanted to get into, but in order to get into it, you had to have a passport. So I finally got my first passport, and with it, really sparked that tiny little bit of freedom. And even though I had a passport, that passport was sitting in a little box that I didn't touch because it has all of my personal belongings, like all the important information about my life and my actual existence. So it was sitting there up until last year in 2024. But over time, my I really think it's it was the best thing that I didn't use it and I didn't start traveling up until I did, because college is very much in the sense you want to be with your friends all the time, and that's what I wanted to do. I really kind of had no sense of confidence in being by myself. So over time I learned that it was okay to do things alone, like going to movies by myself, dinners. But once COVID really supercharged, living alone in lockdown was an experience to say the least. I learned to fill up my time with self projects, rely on myself, and imagine a bigger life. I really took the time to sit down and figure out what's next for me. What do I want to do? So I say that everybody, and I really think that everybody should sit down in a quiet space, and every couple of months, maybe every 6 months, just see what's going on in your life. What do you want to change? What do you want to make of yourself? What goals do you have? And it's okay for things to shift and change. But in that time when I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, I decided that I wanted to leave Wisconsin. And Phoenix really wasn't originally my plan. I came out for a girls' weekend once and I kind of fell in love with it, even though it's the complete opposite of Wisconsin in every way, shape, and form. There's no like greenery here, it's all just dirt and dust. There's no four seasons. And what else? Oh, and they don't have like natural water, that much of it. Everything is very man made. So they say man made lakes, but to me they look like ponds. But if you wanted to get those four seasons, you would drive up north like 2 hours to Flagstaff and you can get the four seasons. But I hardly ever do that. So maybe I need to switch that and change my mindset on that. But Phoenix wasn't the plan. I came out here because I got a job offer, and within that week, I just kind of picked up my life and drove out west with my great aunt because she had the time to, and I needed a second person to drive with. So, once in Arizona, the second year I was here, I decided to take my first true solo trip to Savannah, Georgia, and Tybee Island. It started not the best, not on the best foot. I was bitten by a spider and ended up in the ER. I should have taken care of this spider bite, which I had two of them, one on each leg in like the exact same spot. One just got worse than the other, and I should have went to the ER prior, but I did not. I'm a little bit stubborn, and I'm like, you know what? I am just gonna go for this. I am going on vacation. Nothing will hold me back, because I kind of knew in my mind if I didn't do it now and if I wasn't stubborn like this, I probably wouldn't go on like a solo vacation in a while and I wouldn't have taken the leap. So, fast forward 2023, at the end of 2023, I got a new job. Um, my finances were better. I had a little bit more confidence after I went on a very my very first vacation by myself. And so in 2024, I broke out that passport and I said, "Okay, I'm going to use you." I booked my first group trip abroad with EF Tours. I thought, going out of the country for the very first time, I should do it with a group. I would feel a little bit more comfortable. And I picked the trip, the London, Paris, and Amsterdam trip. And really, uh, if I could tell you how much I love London, I sometimes I can't even describe it in words. I just fell head over heels with the diversity, the energy, um, everybody there. It was just like a melting pot for different cultures and different languages. And I've always been kind of like a history buff, and I always want to know about European history. That was kind of my thing growing up. I thought I was going to be an archaeologist, but that did not happen in any sense. So I just, it was absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to go back. Then we headed off to Paris, which it really is a very romantic city. And I guess you could say that I fell in love with myself. Um, but it was just so romantic. The architecture, so many things to see. And like the Louvre is absolutely amazing. You can never get bored in Paris, just never get bored. And Amsterdam has this like it's just so quaint. It's a quaint city where it has the um the city itself, but I went on a uh oh gosh, what is it called? Oh, like I went on a little bicycle tour. That's what it is. I went on a bike tour with the group and I got to see like the windmills and the countryside, and it was just so pretty and so peaceful. And the houses on the water are so cool and just interesting to look at. And they have Uber boats. So instead of like Uber with cars, Uber boats, which was super interesting to me. I'm pretty sure they have them in London too. But I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So just seeing different parts of the world and how they're completely different, but not so completely different, was really cool. Um, so it really has been a journey going from the little Wisconsin family vacations to traveling the world and meeting strangers and discovering like solo travel doesn't technically mean that you're alone, because I was with a group, but I still took time to take myself like on date days and date nights just because I am so comfortable being alone and I need my alone time. And then recently, a couple weeks ago, I went off to Canada, and it was so much fun. It was my very first solo trip abroad. And I was originally supposed to go to, I was supposed to go to Colombia, but it just didn't work out. And that's fine. I think I would rather go with a friend to Colombia just because um, I don't speak Spanish fluently. Like, I know things here and there, especially living in Arizona. A lot of Hispanics are here, so I really should learn it to make my job a little bit easier. But Duolingo is only doing so much, you guys, okay? Only so much. I've gotten only so far. So we're really trying, but I think I need to step up my game. So off to Canada, went to Montreal, went to Quebec City, planned it all out myself, but I didn't go to the extent where, I'm eating at 9 a.m. for breakfast. Then I'm going on a walk to this part of the city at 10. And, I didn't plan things out. There was no itinerary, which was really nice. And I was just free to do whatever the heck I wanted. And I met my very first new friend, Lindsay. She was in the same hostel as me, like she's in the same room and everything. And we kind of spent 2 days just kind of getting to know each other, and it was so much fun. We have so much in common, and it's insane how open you can be with your conversations with absolute strangers than you can with your own family or friends. That was something that I learned there. And then um, I was sitting down at Cafe Olympico and just really thinking, what's next, journaling out, and podcast just popped out of nowhere. And so I'm like, okay, podcast, let me just ponder on that. Well, then I took the train over to Quebec City, and I'm writing ideas down, and it just came so naturally, this whole podcast in itself, which is really cool. And I know it's meant to be because it was just so easy. I really think that the things that you have to push and um, kind of force aren't really meant for you at that time. So, because it was so easy, I knew it was meant to be and I needed to do it, even though it kind of freaked me out because this is the most open and vulnerable that I'm actually being. So, yeah, it was insane. Like, it is insane, I should say, that going through this whole process, but it's really given me the opportunity to know my friends more in a deeper way, and be able to grow our friendship. And I can't wait for you to hear what's going to happen in these upcoming episodes. My friend that I met in Quebec, Farouk, he's absolutely amazing. He has a wonderful story coming up. And I talk to my friends that I've known for 10 plus years, and new ones that I just made on vacation like 4 weeks ago. So I'm so excited to do this journey with you. If you want to see anything different, or, oh, Bethany, let's go into detail about your trips that you actually took. I want to know more about them. What would you recommend? I can do that too. But I really want everybody to understand that putting yourself in a new and uncomfortable situation will make you grow as a person. The world is not scary. It's just as scary as you think it is, but once you're actually in that position of being out there and exploring, it's not scary. Use your best judgment as always, and don't do anything stupid, but learn to understand that these different countries, everybody that lives there is a human just like you, and most people are actually really good people. And they're going to treat you as a human. And you should treat them as a human and not as a um, scary thing. So really put yourself out there and explore the world. So that is really everything that I have to say. Please let me know what you want to hear and what you want to see next. Go ahead and follow the podcast on Instagram, on TikTok. I'm trying to do the best that I can with social media, but it takes a little bit of time to get into, just because I have a full-time job and I'm just doing this for funsies on the side. So we'll see where this takes me, where I end up, and I really hope that you join me for the rest of this journey. And I can't wait to know every single one of you, and I hope that you can be one of my friends along the way. Thanks for joining me on this leg of the journey. If today's story made you smile, think, or dream a little bigger, share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. You can find more travel moments and behind the scenes stories on Instagram at Friends Along the Way Pod. Until next time, safe travels, say yes, book the ticket, and keep making friends along the way.